Alright guys, got a new package in the mail today from Grayson Hobby. Got a nice little sticker here. And there's our invoice there. So I wanted to do one more upgrade to my Wizard before I switched to 4-cell. And there we are, guys. Boom. So I went ahead and got some Dalprop Cyclones, guys. The T5046s in the translucent purple. So, you know, with a 3-cell, we shouldn't have any problem burning out the ESCs running these props. And we should get a little bit more aggressive flight. Supposedly there's supposed to be a nice upgrade for the Wizard that's going to give us more efficient flights with our battery usage and a little bit more aggressive flying. So we're going to slap these babies on and do a flight test and see and compare from the stock Wizard props to these new Dow Cyclones, which are supposed to be pretty mean props. So we'll check those out here in a minute. Stay tuned. Before we take a flight, I wanted to just kind of compare, these two props just to show you kind of the difference. And at first glance, they look, well, they look very different actually. The color, this is a solid purple, or this is more of a translucent purple. But the major difference you'll see is in the pitch of these blades. So if you can see the pitch of the stock Wizard prop, and these are both counterclockwise props, you can see just about how much pitch she's rolling with on the stock. Okay, now let's look at the Dalprop. So obviously a lot more pitch on there, which is going to give you a lot more bite when you're ripping through the air. So that is a major difference on these props. The other big thing, if you look at these props, if you look at the tip of the stock, it's more like a butter knife shape on the stock Wizard props. And if you look at the Dow props, look at the tip on that. It's more like a sharp point that's going to just kind of cut right through the air. And also, as this moves through the air, it's going to have less of a drag, because it's going to cut through the air more precisely, and the air is going to split right there at the tip. So another thing to consider when you're changing props. I didn't want to run these props with a 4-cell because of the ESCs only being 20 amp. You do run the risk when you start getting more aggressive on the props. When you change to a 4-cell, you do run the risk of burning out ESCs because you may draw more amps. But on a 3-cell, you can pretty much run whatever you'd like. So that's why we're going to go ahead and run these Dows. But there's just a quick little, brief little explanation and differences between the two. So let's go ahead and get our new props on the Wizard in 3, 2, 1. Boom! There she is, looking nice. I actually like the look of these props. They just look really aggressive. They just make her look a little extra meaner. And I like the purple, obviously, because that goes with the whole purple theme. But you can see that this prop definitely fits on the Wizard. And there's our clearance right there, which you can see is not very much, but just enough for that prop to go all the way around without striking anything. So there's the clearance right there. Not much at all, but she looks good, and I can't wait to go out here and test them out and see the differences between the stock props versus these Dow props. The Dow props are supposed to be a lot tougher, hold up a lot better, with hitting like tree limbs and stuff like that. So I'm anxious to get out there, and let's go ahead and get out to the flight spot and do a little bit of flying with these bad boys. Alright guys, so we're out here in the field. Nice little area I found. It's nice and wide open. It's a nice good spot. I went ahead and put my my Ekin action camera on top of my FPV goggles for a different point of view. That way, while I'm flying, you can still see the Wizard, as I'm flying around this area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up the FPV feed from the Wizard also in the corner once I get a feed. There you go. And we're going to go ahead and take this thing up and see how these props handle. So right away I noticed that they are definitely quieter than the stock props a little bit. They feel smooth just like the stock props. I'd say smoothness is about the same, but it seems like turning feels a little more dialed in or tuned in. It feels like it's easier to kind of turn with these props. So I'm definitely noticing that, which might be another reason why these are a very popular racing prop, because they are so easy to maneuver and turn. Punch, I'd say probably about the same, maybe a little bit more punch than the stock props, but not a significant amount of punch increase. Stock props are pretty good for punch. Flips and everything, they feel good. It recovers quickly, but the turning is just so much easier with these props. The stock wizard props, I feel it doesn't turn as easy, but these are definitely very responsive and quieter. I can definitely notice a difference on the noise level of these. And just kind of flying around trying to get a feel for these props. And definitely the tricks are not a problem with these props, not at all. And I don't know if this is just me, but it does seem like maybe the drone falls out of the sky a little faster than with the stock props. I don't know if that's just me, but it does seem like when I let off the throttle to do like a backflip or a roll, it seems to be coming down a little bit faster than the stock props. I will say, as far as speed goes, this wizard picks up speed a lot faster with these props. When I'm pitching forward, it's definitely rolling a lot faster, and it's getting there quicker. The stock props kind of felt like you had to pitch it forward, and then it kind of had like a little bit of a delayed reaction before it really started going. And these, as soon as you pitch forward, it's just going very quickly. So all in all, I'm liking them. They're handling really well for acro. When I'm coming down, I'm chopping the throttle to just bare idle, and as soon as I get low enough to where I go ahead and engage the throttle again, it's recovering very nicely. So that I do like. This is a very nice area out here for flying, and thank goodness there's no sporting events going on, or I wouldn't be here. The high school is going to be a little bit more difficult to fly at now, with school being back in and everything. But this is a nice area. It's got wide open spaces. It's got some obstacles. It's got some trees. And I'm trying to learn and get better. I'm trying to learn more about turning and getting more precise, movement. That way, eventually I can start hitting gates, which will be my next thing. But for right now, I'm just trying to kind of mix a little bit of acro with a little bit of, FPV, a little bit of racing kind of scenario, where I'm staying kind of low to the ground, and trying to go around obstacles. But definitely the props feel great. I definitely have to say I am enjoying these a lot better than the stock props, and I am running 3-cell, but they just seem to be more precise when it comes to turning. They seem just a lot more controlled. If that makes any sense, the stock wizard props, when you go to turn, it's kind of almost like it slides past the point of where you're trying to turn. I feel like these, when you go to turn, it's just more precise. It's more locked in, and that's the way I'm feeling with these props. It's a beautiful day out here, and I'm just trying to get the hang of bringing this in for a landing, because I was getting a little bit of beeping. So we'll check the battery as well, the battery life,
We want to make sure we're not killing our battery. So I'm just going to bring this in here, nice and slow. It's actually harder than it seems, guys, to make this thing go slow to bring it in for a landing. That's for sure. All right, so we go ahead and got it landed, and I'm going to go ahead and check this battery out because it did stop beeping. All right, guys, so it's definitely good to go. We're not quite dead yet, so we're going to fly this thing around until we get a constant beep. I'm not going to be recording the FPV for this last section. Just going to fly it around. But right off the bat, I think I'm definitely noticing a slight increase in battery life. I have been punching it full throttle, and you know, it did beep a little bit, but it's not been a constant beep. So once I start hearing that constant beep, then I know that the cells are depleted. But I definitely notice 3 positive things so far out of these props. First thing being the quietness of them. They are quieter than the stock props. They're not quite as loud. And the second part, or the second thing that I like about these props, is the turning, the handling. They handle a lot better, a lot more precise than the stock props. And obviously the third thing is going to be the efficiency, where, you know, I'm able to punch that throttle more and not get that beeping and not get that depleting of the cells quite as bad as the stock props. So it goes back to, you know, if I had to say that these are more efficient than the stock props, I would definitely say yes, these are more efficient than the stock props. And actually, let's go ahead and add one more thing in here. I'm going to add the speed, you know, because I'm able to pick up speed a lot faster with these props over the stock props. So those are 4 positive things I like about these props so far. And what we're going to do is I'm going to bring this thing in for a landing because I'm getting a constant beep now. And for the rest of this video, I'm gonna fly one more flight with my second battery, and you know, I'm gonna have that footage of the flight itself on here, so you can see. I'm gonna try to be a little bit more aggressive, do a little bit more you know, stunts and tricks, and fly a little faster, and we'll have that popped up here in a minute.